So thanks for coming. Facilities first and public comment. One sign up is Mr. Healy and Dr. Darnell and Mr. Thompson are attending the meeting via teleconference. Turn the switch, Mr. Healy.
Thank you. Happy New Year to everybody. That's all I don't need. I would like to discuss one item on the agenda, district-wide music department instruments that are being obsoleted. I ran across an article, well actually an ad in the Penny Pal, and it was from the Palisades schools, and they were looking for instruments. I called the number and they said they got 4 responses from the public and they picked 4 instruments. And I mentioned that we were having these obsoleted. So what I'm asking the board to consider tonight is to let them look at what these instruments are that we're obsoleting, see if they can be repaired or used somehow. Apparently, the problem up there is they don't have enough money to go out and buy instruments, and they have more kids interested in playing that they have instruments for. So I would let them be the judge, but I would like us to donate any instruments that they might be interested in refurbishing before it goes to public surplus. So that's the request that I'm making tonight. And I have the list, the names, the band director, and his name and telephone number. And they also asked if we have a marching flag group, which I believe that we do. And they said that they were inviting Pennridge to a competition March 23rd. So they asked me to convey that invitation if we want to participate in a flag competition. So I have the information here. I'll leave it with somebody. And who would they contact, you know, to see whether someone wants to participate in a flag competition? You have a district-wide music person?
Well, I don't know myself, but if you just leave it, the right, find out where it goes.
Okay.
Dr. Radigan or
Okay.
Mrs. Early might know who it is.
All right, I'll give it out later. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Linden.
Howard Linden, West Brockton Township. I would like an opportunity to bid on the surplus instruments. I think we went through this once before where it was suggested that we give away surplus books prior to putting them to public surplus. And I have successfully bid on books before, and I'd like to look at the instruments and see if there's anything I want to bid on that I want to give away before you give them away. It's the taxpayers' money, and I think the taxpayers get the first shot. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Okay, so we have opposing, we're not set up to talk about this tonight, but I promise that we will find out about that. But I think Mr. Linden's right, and it's not that we don't want to help people, but we're not set up prepared to talk about that tonight. So we'll find out about it and try to do the right thing. And we have to follow, I don't know what the policy is off the top of my head, but I think Mr. Linden might be right about that. So thank you. So thanks for the comments. So the first thing on the facilities agenda is a review of the UCC meeting that has to do with the phase 2 of Hellman Field. And that's going to be Mr. Spatafora and Mr. Lawford will be doing that.
Good evening. I'd like to give the board an update on the stadium improvement project here at the high school. On December 22nd, we did have our Uniform Construction Code Appeals meeting. The meeting was held at East Rockville Township, and there were two items that we were requesting relief on. One was to decrease the number of fixtures from 84 to 26. The other one was the travel distance from the worst possible seat to the toilet rooms. We exceeded 500 feet, so we needed to get a waiver for that as well. We were given approval at that meeting, so that's one step closer to getting through the approval process for that project. There were a couple items that are going to carry on to tomorrow's agenda with the Board of Supervisors. One is there's a tree requirement. It's a new ordinance that requires us to provide shading for 50% of the parking lot that we're going to build. Now, we don't have that anywhere on the site as is. So our intention is to ask for relief. And the reason is this is immediately adjacent to the tennis court. That will be a big maintenance issue. So we're going to ask to at least reduce the number and relocate to other parking lot areas on the site that won't have a negative impact in and around this. We'll have to vacuum the field and the tennis court and that kind of thing. So we're going to work with them to minimize the number, relocate them. Worst case is we will have to contribute to the street tree fund for whatever trees we do not plant on our site. So that will be a discussion tomorrow at the meeting. The other item was, I don't know how many times we'll have an issue with the capacity we had at opening night, but it is possible. The Board of Supervisors wants to review the parking over at the transportation building as being a potential overflow parking lot, rather than people go across the street to the Pines and park there and walk across. So in the event, we are going to offer that as additional parking, and in some cases, if it's necessary for handicap, elderly, whichever the case is, that we may be able to provide a shuttle service. We do want to make sure that just because you park there, there isn't a shuttle service, but if you have a special needs, we will provide that. So that's going to be item number 2 that we're going to talk about. Two other items, the Percy Fire Department has reviewed the project, and they would like us to add a fire hydrant up at the field. We don't have any structures there now, so there was never a need. They would like us to put one in. So it is an additional fee. We do have room to put it. So that will be something that they're going to put on us as a condition that we can include this as through an addenda and get it in the project as a base bid, so we can at least competitively bid that. The other item was they want one of the entrance gates at the front to be widened so that they could get a truck into that area to serve that building. We already have a gate. We have the width. They want to make sure that there are no clearance issues above. We don't have any issues with that. We have an open gate for that. So that'll be another item that they're just going to make us provide the access for that. So again, we do have tomorrow is our Board of Supervisors meeting, and we are hoping to have the final comments back from the Conservation District before the bids are due on the 27th of January. If we get the comments back, we can put them out as an addenda if there are any additions or changes, and again, get that into the base bid. Otherwise, if it comes in after the fact, then we'll have to do it as a change order. At this point, I think it would be very minimal. It may be additional silk stocks or fencing of some kind for E&S measures, but it's a very straightforward project. We don't expect it to be a big concern. And we did have our pre-bid meeting for this project on Friday, and we had in excess of 40 contractors at that pre-bid. So we expect to have very competitive bidding on this. I believe we're one of the first projects out the door for summer projects this year, so we did get a good turnout. And we'll be bringing that to the facilities meeting in February for your review.
Barry, oh, I'm sorry.
Questions?
Sorry. If we do put a fire hydrant on the property, would that,
Can you turn your
constitute-
microphone on, please?
It is on. It says it's on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Would that help our insurance costs if we had a fire hydrant on the property? I was just curious.
I would think. It doesn't hurt it.
I mean, would you explore
think-
that? If we do have to install that, would you explore
Yeah,
that?
I think that when
fire hydrant. The main thing is for them to tie in, you don't need the hydrant right there, that's what they have the pumper for. And the pumper can pull water beyond what they're gonna need, I would assume, I would hope, if we ever do have any problems. So are they saying they want a hydrant right at, or close to? Because if we've got water up there, obviously your tying would be much easier, but if it's a matter of moving the hydrant.
Yeah, I can, let me answer, but the first question is, we do have options for parking. I think the concern is not having to cross Fifth Street. So if we can keep, I think there's probably almost another 100 spaces to park over at the transportation building. So if we can keep